Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. Today we're playing e4, hoping for a game as sharp as the trim that you currently see me sporting. You see the radial skin fade going on here into the developing mullet at the back. We're bringing the mullet back, baby. Will Taylor Chess OG subscribers are going to be, of course, very familiar with that luscious, flowing mullet that we used to have coming out the back of my head. And with that mullet, I played some pretty nasty chess, so I'm thinking, you know what? Hold on. I've just been playing sort of on autopilot here. What the hell is this? This is passive and absolutely disgusting. We're going to castle queenside and just attack our opponent's king. I mean, f3 to prevent any knight g4 idea, to harass our bishop, of course, also to support e4, also to support that g4 move, which eventually and inevitably will be expanding towards our opponent's king. Now, I might even just go for g4 straight away. I think I'm going to, just because I like the idea of maybe having knight f5 up my sleeve, and should they take, we can open our g-file. Although they go for an immediate b5. Anyway, so yeah, we're bringing back the mullet. This is massive news to all of about, actually 70,000 people. I'm sure every single one of my subscribers gets. Okay, interesting stuff. So they've started swinging immediately. This kind of game is a bit of a slugfest where it tends towards opposite side castling positions. It really is the victor, you know, decided by probably who has the most effective pawn storm. And should I commit to castling queenside very quickly? I don't know, maybe my attack's not so convincing down this flank because they could just leave their king there for a little and they can immediately get this kind of tempo, and I don't know. Again though, I am just going to go for it because I'm not entirely sure that you're doing anything massively convincing here. If you do play b4, I can just move my knight. We have healthy pawn structure here, and there is such a thing as a premature attack. I'm not sure this is fully developed yet, to the extent where, for instance, rooks are behind it or the queen's over here on a5. Now, they might be planning to launch ahead with c5, remove the defender of f3, and then take here. So I'm going to over-defend f3, waiting for them to play c5. Or maybe, sorry, they could also jump into c4 with the knight. It's a common idea, but they do play c5. Now we bounce over to f5 with our knight, knife f5. Of course, they snap this off because they don't want me to take here or here with check, but I can take this way and we get this open g-file. Now, castling kingside is going to be significantly more dangerous given this pawn structural change. We could put either rook here, maybe the rook from d1, such that we can leave this rook, push the pawn, have some fun this way. And my opponent's definitely, you know, they're coming over with their pawns, maybe queen a5. I mean, as if by magic. You know, you're preparing the idea of b4 and move the knight, taking on a2, potential mate threat. It's definitely convincing stuff, but being uncastled right now is interesting indeed. If I play f4, I guess you're going to come in this way. I'm trying to tempt this so that I can take and they don't have a b4 resource. I also don't want to go this way with my knight, really. I guess I could, because if takes, I can take with the queen. I just don't want to take with the pawn like this and leave these double and isolated. So I think king b1 will make some sense. They don't have a bishop, for instance, to situate on e6, even if they did for some reason. I've got a pawn on f5. So I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, it's a bit of a prophylaxis, of course. It's preventative to some extent. We are now going to snap this off, though. We are going to snap this off. Yes, you've got an open b-file. Actually, don't know what my follow-up to that was going to be. Like, that is actually pretty scary. But, in fact, no, here's my follow-up. You haven't castled, and so you haven't connected the rooks. And there's just not all that much that you can really threaten with just a rook and a queen and a bishop that can't really make its way across to do anything helpful, and a knight that's kind of in a similar predicament. So if I just start with rook g1 threatening to take here, are you going to castle into that? Potentially bishop h6 is an idea? Okay, I didn't think so. Hello, am I not taking here? It does look like a free pawn. It does also permanently ruin any prospect of king safety for our opponent. I mean, look at the state of the queen side, the state of the center, and the state of the king side after that move. And I guess the point is that after this and like queen here, I was thinking I could put my queen on c1 and be very safe and sound, but of course the knight hangs there because of the pin. I don't want to ever push this because this pawn's going to take and kind of tear stuff open. The pawn comes in. We want to keep our pawns unpushed. So my queen's tied to this knight for now. I'd love to be able to phase through, you know, reset my bishop to its original square on c1. That would be fantastically defensively efficient. I guess I could play queen e1, continue to hold this, prepare for bishop c1, and then still just be applying loads of pressure down here. I'm just saying, if we defend it super effectively with just one bishop, like say we have one bishop counteracting the threat posed by a queen and a rook, that imbalance of workforce is surely then going to be felt over here on the king side. And if queen e1, we could even reroute over to g3 maybe, although I guess that doesn't really, you know, queen g2 would also be very nice and easy. Okay, I'm going for queen e1. This might not be the most aggressive move, but honestly, I think it's a pretty mature one with a very interesting idea of staying extremely safe, extraordinarily safe, and bishop c1 is just going to serve that purpose. And it's no less active, mind you, from c1 in terms of this diagonal than it is from e3. I mean, we're not looking down here anymore, but we never had any prospects down here anyway. c1 is actually a fantastically active place for this bishop to be. However, they are about to now wander into f4 most likely because I can't take that. Or they're just defending g7 with this move. That might have been the the reasoning there. Now, I really want to be able to play knight d5. The knight belongs on d5. However, I'd rather die than trade the queens. It's a little dramatic, I'll admit, but still, the sentiment holds there. So maybe I should unpin, which would also prevent any knight f4. And still hold this. There's no bishop g5 idea. Okay, we're playing queen e3. I'm not entirely sure with what I've done with the queen, bishop, queen here. Like, I haven't achieved anything all that aggressively impressive over the past 3 moves. But I have achieved just a really annoying setup for my opponent to deal with. And if I just get knight d5 now, I mean, this is what I'm preparing, of course, then I lose the game with bishop b2. Okay, that's less than ideal. Of course there's bishop f6. How the hell did I not see that coming? Although, hold on, actually, when I say knight here, bishop b2, I lose the game, there is just takes. So this could be possible. Unless there's queen takes here, but I just play bishop takes. And if you play rook takes, then I just move over to c1. And if you play bishop takes, maybe I just panic there. Maybe we're fine. I can move my queen onto a dark square just so that there's no discovery. I think I do have this. We're going to go for knight d5. And the fact that I don't think you can take here, the fact that this bishop is so well placed on c1, I mean, my opponent will lose their queen if they take on here. That's all that I'm saying. Now, maybe there's a line, for instance, queen takes, bishop takes, where they somehow get away with it. But after putting my queen on a light square, okay. I mean, let's have it. They've gone for it. Fair enough. Obviously, they're threatening some discovery here. I'm not best pleased about that. I clearly can't evade the discovery, but that's not a long-term problem. Like, I have maybe... Oh, do I just have c3? That would be nice. Because then I cut down the bishop's possible moves. You can just take this with a discovered check, but I play king c2 and escape this hellhole that is the b1 square currently. And if c3 and you go here, I just play this. You go check. No, that would be actually quite terrible. Damn, I thought c3 was going to be so clean. c3, bishop a3, king c2, rook check, only legal move. Wait, how do you actually attack my queen from there? You go in here, right? And then I step across here. You take my queen, I take back. I'm probably still winning there, is the intriguing thing. c3 here, check, king c1. I mean, you've got to go for some discovery, right? And if you do go for the only one that attacks my queen, because c3 is in the way so you can't go to b3, and you go here, I do just, I believe, play king b1. You can take my queen, I just take this, and I'm just up plentiful material. Okay, we're playing c3. This is, I think, a fairly forcing simplification, because otherwise, if you don't go for this, you're not going to get anything out of the whole discovery you've got going on here. I mean, you can grab this pawn for free. Well done, but... Huh? Why the hell would you do that? I'm running now. I'm fine. You come in here with check, I just take this. You've got nothing going on. You go here, I just sack. So they bring the bishop back? What? Now I just get on the b file. There's nothing going on. I guess there might be this. But also, who cares if there's that? And also, there's not, because I can play rook takes. Okay, we're just going to get on the b file now. I think that was probably here. They finally castle, by the way. And then, I mean, why the hell not get on the b file? There's just zero play. There's just zero play for my opponent. We have a queen for a bishop, and a couple of pawns, admittedly, but it's not like those pawns are really doing anything very convincing. And after rook takes, king takes, we'd obviously be very winning. And now we're looking at very interesting stuff. Hold on. I think I'm going to start with f6. I think that makes a lot of sense. Maybe we can go for this check, force the king across, who knows? But, you know, should you take, it's just a forced trade of more pieces. There's just even less possible counterplay. We're keeping our king and rook on a light square, so this bishop is completely ineffective, of course. Yeah, you could attack my queen, but... Okay, that seems an odd decision. Let's slide on in here. Why not? Attack this. I don't exactly know where you think you're going forward with this knight. I mean, if you go backwards with this knight, then we might be just playing rook g1. You push this to let the knight be defended. What do I play? f4 there? Oh, lord. Hold on. Okay, I mean, yeah, just knight g7, rook g1, you have to assume is more than winning. And if here, we just take... Yeah, oh, that's nice. That's so nice. Rook g1, they're going to push to try to defend this, but after we take... actually, I could take... Oh, that's so nasty. That's so nasty. They have to take, otherwise it's an Arabian mate, alhamdulillah. But also, yeah, we could just take, and then that was going to be mate in one on the next one. I guess maybe it's not technically Arabian if it's a queen, not a rook. Either way, that's nasty. Let's analyze that game. So here we are in the analysis with 2 inaccuracies and a 95% accurate game. If you squint your eyes, that is just a straight line. Obviously, there are these small fluctuations. However, the overall trend is opening advantage converted to a middle game advantage, converted to a very convincing endgame advantage. Indeed, let's go through that game. So e4, e5, knight f3, d6. We went for the Philidor here, but it transposed into a Scotch after knight c3. I'm very, very, very familiar with the Scotch, especially this kind of setup with f3 here, and the pieces in this kind of diamond. We castle queenside. G4, was that the best move? Oh, that's so nice. G4, best move. That is so lovely. Okay, nice. Now, perhaps the engine's going to have wanted me to play G5 a little earlier. They go here, and I castle. Instead, I should have taken on c6, ostensibly here, then g5. However, my opponent should have taken this opportunity to trade, because after they went here, bishop e2, they pushed, knight or rather knife f5, of course, and after they take, we've got this open g-file, which was exactly what ended the game. Now, they went for their own attack. King b1 made a lot of sense. We took, giving them the open file, but also, I mean, queen e3 was inaccurate. I could have just stepped across, and then there'd just never been a pin problem, and I could have just put my queen on c1, and the knight would have never been hanging. I don't know why I didn't think about that solution, but also, I do like the idea of keeping this bishop on c1. I think that made it very, very difficult indeed if we turn on the evaluation. Yeah, bishop c1 is by far the best move. It just made it very difficult for our opponent to have any real play. Then after queen e3, I mean, my idea was, I don't know, we've got this knight move coming, probably it would have been the best move there, and then we're just going to swarm it over here, maybe queen h6 ideas, and the bishop is still very active from c1. That's just a perfect piece. However, they slightly complicated things, at least I thought, with bishop f6, but noticing that I can still play knight d5 because actually I'm attacking the queen. You can't play queen takes. Well, of course they did, but there was no forcing, you know, discovery after this. And the c3, I mean, we'll have a little analyze of what the actual best move there was, but c3 I think was very practical. However, yeah, if they hadn't have taken here and they'd have taken with the bishop, then I could have just taken here. You know, rook takes, okay, there's no idea even slightly. You could castle into a very pleasant checkmate if you wanted. Anyway, so after knight e5, I mean, we're just attacking both these pieces, that golden bishop on c1, holding the mate threat. Hopefully this inspires you in some of your games to just look for this resource of actually using your bishop on its home square. I mean, more often this is done when you're castled kingside and the bishop's on f1, because for the queenside thing, you've got to move the king across and then bring the bishop back, but I mean, it just so happened to manifest pretty pleasantly in this game. They went for the sack, then here, c3 by far the best move. Let's flip and go. Let's flip and go. If I go queen e2 or something, there's just bishop a3. Here, bishop b2, and it's just a draw. I'll be honest, I didn't even really think about that. I thought c3 was just a clever way of simplifying things, but it was apparently the only real move. There was, of course, knight b4 as well, and then I can probably fight out after they take it with c3 anyway. But c3 only move, fantastic stuff. Realizing that if they'd gone here, I would have gone, why did I not think about this? Actually, I guess it's because then here, check here, and if they go here, I'm going to at some point have to go to c2. Fine. So after king c2, check, I go to c1, and there's just no convincing discovery. Like, you can go and win the queen, be my guest, but in this position, we have two rooks. You have an inactive rook here. The knight's sidelined, the bishop's oddly sidelined. We have tempo on this pawn, tempo on this pawn, tempo everywhere. Our opponent's position would have just fallen apart with ease. I think we're actually just trapping this bishop. Is that the idea? No way. If castle's here, we just go like this, and the bishop's just trapped. Okay, I mean, I didn't really particularly calculate that. Maybe I needed to. But yeah, of course, king c1. And then, you know, if you take like this, I can just go here, here, and here. And then once you've kind of got these pieces in each other's way, there are no further questions, Your Honor, to be asked of the position, really. And I'm not going to have trouble cleaning up from here. Some rook b1, getting on the b file, absolutely fine. So instead, they took on c3. Sorry, excuse me. Let's get back to the actual game. They took on c3. I went up with king c2. They bring their bishop back. And then, yeah, well, of course, we just get on the b file. I mean, there's now no infiltration at all. We can trade, bring the other rook to the b file. Then they return here with their rook. I play f6, very nice. Here, it's a mate in 8. We find the best move here with queen h6, very nice stuff. And if you want to save the knight, you walk right into rook g1. The only move to then stop mate, I believe, okay, I mean, of course, you have bishop g3 if you really want, but is f5, and then the pony from d5, hopping into f6. If you go king here, of course, there is a checkmate, so you have to take, and then I can simply recapture. I mean, every legal move walks into mate in 1 here. If they pushed a pawn like this, I probably would have tried to get a little fancy with here, here, and then maybe we look for a check here, here, and then a checkmate. You know, like a mate in 5 or so over a mate in 1, always preferable. But yeah, overall, a pretty nasty game, but I think the highlight of the game wasn't even the kind of attacking finish. It was this whole idea of, I think, the reorganizing, bringing my bishop back to c1, stabilizing this, such that all my opponent's firepower, I mean, did I not say? If the bishop was adequately defending a queen and a rook, I mean, there was going to be an imbalance somewhere else, and I guess that was kind of felt, although my opponent did, you know, end up sacking the queen and going for that idea. But yeah, nevertheless, a very nice game, and very sharp, as promised, much like the Fae. I better not see anyone being mean about my haircut in the comments. I better just have pure positive reviews. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.